Welcome back to the Pandemic Guitar Podcast, your favorite guitar and music related podcast. Because let's face it, there just aren't a whole lot out there. And the ones that are, well, they're good, but not as good as us. So thank you for listening. I'm Tim on microphone number one. And this episode is a little different because we only brought two microphones with us today. So on microphone number two, that is my dad, Rick. Rick, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing I'm doing good. You came in, you like paused for a second. You came in almost like you were sick, like underneath the
Oh,
weather.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't mean to, but I
I'm doing
uh,
okay.
I do notice you have the same mic as I do.
Yeah. I really liked cuz I got to put this away. I'm over here making clicking sounds on the side here. But yeah, no, Amanda is using the Shore and
Right.
then you're using your a
Same one.
different version. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, she
And
has
then yeah.
she has the regular version. I have the plus, and I think you bought
Yep.
the plus too. And there's
I
just a
did.
there's just a few little features that the plus has other than the
None
standard.
of them none of them I
Right.
use.
Yeah, I don't either, so.
But I wasn't really sure what those features were. I probably should have done a little bit more research before I just went out and switched mics, but I really like the way it sounds.
It does. Sounds great.
Yeah, yeah. I like it a lot. And don't worry, I know that if you've made it this far into the episode, you're like, where is microphone number three? Where is Amanda? She'll be back next week.
Yep.
Don't worry. She had some stuff that she had to take care of. She really wanted to be here. She feels bad about it. We said it's going to be okay.
Yep.
We'll welcome you back next week.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just us. So bear with us, I guess, if we get a little bit more technical than what we usually do.
Oh, no.
Um, yeah, well, just because Amanda doesn't really like the technical stuff,
Okay.
whereas
Mhm.
we can kind of geek out over that, but we'll try to keep it fun and entertaining for everybody. As
We can try.
yeah, we sure, yeah, we sure can.
Yeah.
No, so we're going to talk a little bit about the project guitar that you've been working on,
Yep.
and we're going to try to keep this moving along and keep it something that you can listen to. But if you're interested to see what we're looking at, what we're talking about, remember we are now on YouTube. You can just go to YouTube, search Pandemic Guitar Podcast, find us, and then do the whole subscribe thing, the like button, leave us a comment. Maybe we'll reply.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
So anyway, what's going on with the guitar?
Oh, I've been doing a lot of stuff. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of stuff. I've been
Yeah.
thinking more or less about a lot of the stuff. Some of the things. Sometimes I regret some of the stuff I buy for it, but I'm going with what I got. So, and what I did was I got a chance to work on the neck, and I just wanted to go over a little bit on what I did. And by the way, anybody that does or wants to replace their tuners in the neck could watch the episode here and learn something from it.
I
So
hope so. And to me, these are the tuners, obviously, right? I
it's
don't
one of
know if
them.
yeah, well, yes, obviously it's one
Yeah,
of them. Is that a specific brand or anything like that? Or
it's a generic one I got off of Amazon for it's a
oh,
cheapie. It's a cheapie, and I was trying to keep the cost down on the guitar. And here again, we're talking about an S style neck, which is a Strat basically type neck.
oh yeah,
So
right.
these are single 6 in line tuners, and if you notice that there's what we call you got the tuner itself, we got a washer, and we got a ferrule that goes in there, and it's a threaded um, long nut that reaches down through the neck, and it allows us to tighten the tuner onto the neck. So go on to the next slide.
Yeah, I will. But
Go ahead.
the tuners, I just want to point out that the tuners are actually fairly easy to replace. Uh,
Yes.
you only need what, a small Phillips head screwdriver and maybe a wrench.
Yes. Yep.
Uh, so my question is on this: when you pick up a guitar,
Right.
and for instance, my Squire Bullet that I have,
Yep.
the tuners, like, let's just say I don't know anything, right? But the tuners, as I'm tuning, they feel like kind of like they want to jump, or they're just not like grabbing correctly.
Right. And
So
that's go ahead.
so that's probably a good sign of a subpar tuner, is what I'm guessing.
Yes, it is. It's a lot of the tuners have what they call inside. They have a screw in there, a Phillips screw, and there's a gear. There's actually two gears, a worm gear and a regular gear. And maybe that screw is a little loose or something like that, and that's causing it to jump like that.
Can you just go in there and tighten that screw or something on the inside, or
On some here's the thing, on some of them you can, but sometimes when you open up the back plate, there's a little plate there that's pushed in, you can't get the plate back in. Or
no,
when
that would be my luck.
yeah, or you get the plate to, actually you disturb the shape of the plate so it won't go back in. So, that's a problem. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not that expensive, just go out and buy,
No, I was gonna say you can probably get a good set for what, 30, 40 bucks.
yeah, that's about what I paid for these. I think it's 37 bucks is what I paid. So,
Yeah, that's not bad. Now this one looks like there's one that's off.
yeah, um, yes, and that's not the way it's going to be drilled because in here, I'm gonna show you that, oh, by the way, these are Wilkinson, tuners, and,
Oh, okay.
you can get them on the W there, you can get them on the, oh, they're all over the internet. So and they're fairly these particular tuners are fairly decent, so I picked them up. But anyhow, I did this to represent the challenge of getting the tuna straight, and I come up with some solutions that I'm gonna tell you about them. So those solutions that I came up with as we proceed through here. So okay, so here what I've done is I've taken the tuners, and you can see that I have a ruler, and it's a metal ruler, and I put it.
Yeah, yes,
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 it
it
is
is.
metal. Yeah, it's metal. But anyhow, I put it on the tuners on there's like a little lip there, and just to get make sure that they're straight. So go on to the next
Oh,
slide.
right, because if, well, hopefully, I mean, if they're not straight there at this point, though,
Right,
uh, your
that's a
your holes are probably drilled wrong.
that is correct. And the other thing I want to say is this neck, when I did this neck, I have a jig that it's a Stumac from Stumac. It's a jig that sits on the neck and allows you to drill those holes uh, precisely for the tuners to go in. Okay. And that's one thing I want to mention. I just want to step back a second is that when you drill the holes, you're drilling them into bare wood. There's no finish on it when I did it. So what happens is when you paint it, you have to be very careful because when you paint it, the spray gets into the hole there and creates a little lip on the where the hole is drilled, where the tuner goes. So what you have to do is you have to take something like a piece of small sandpaper, and you just have to put it on your finger and run it around the inside of that because you don't want if you put something in there, if you put a tuner in there and you hit the side of it, you could chip it. You know what I'm saying? If you push it through.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
and
that
it
does not sound like, that's my fear anytime I even think that I
right,
am going to start building a guitar for myself, is I would get to that last couple of steps after hours of work
right.
and put a big chip or a crack, or just mess it up completely.
And it's happened to me plenty of times. If you're gonna if you're gonna use a reamer, okay, they make reamers that fit this. Always go backwards with the reamer, turn it the opposite way. This way it smooths out the edges, then you can go the other way and it avoids the chipping. So,
Huh.
there's just some hints that I've learned over the past years. Now, okay, here's what I've done is I got that is an awl, and basically it's got a point on the end of it. So once I got the tuners straight, what I did was I took the awl and I pushed it into the hole to make a little a hole that I could just use a drill bit and drill into it, and that way the I could screw the tuner down into the hole.
Right, and
You know,
that's gonna basically be where the drill bit starts, so it's not
yes,
like you're measuring it out and you're just putting a bunch of little X's on flat surfaced wood, hopefully you're getting it right.
right,
This
and
is creating an indention for the drill bit.
that's correct. You're creating
Alright.
a starting point. Now, I will say this:
Yeah.
I seen somebody one time on YouTube put a drill, just take and put a drill bit in here. Don't do it, because I seen
Oh.
the drill just go around. It got stuck, and it started to the tuner started to move, did a lot of damage.
Oh,
So
yeah, I wouldn't even think about doing that, but that I mean, that's a good point.
yes, so you always wanna after you make the indentation there, the starting point for the bit, you always wanna take the tuner out and then drill it, and that's in one of the slides too.
Oh, yeah, so at first, when I saw this picture, I'm like, "What is this?"
Right. Well, yeah,
And then I'm
it's a
like, "Oh, okay, wait a second, I've done this before."
yeah, it's what it is it's a, when you're drilling okay, um, when you're putting screws into rock maple is very hard. The screws are not tempered. So what happens is if you just started to screw that screw into where you made the indentation, the starting point, after it got about halfway in, it would snap. And then you're into more problems than what you started. So
Yeah,
what I
they're not very strong.
right. So what I did is I took a I forgot the size of the drill bit there, but what I did is I marked the drill bit with a piece of black tape, electrical tape, and I only went down about two-thirds below, because the thing is, you definitely don't want to drill through the headstock, is what you really don't want to do, and and
Yeah.
you don't want to drill too far down because then the screw will not have anything to catch into. So
Mhm.
so that's why you see the black tape on there. So I only drill down to where the black tape is, and in this case, I use a regular hand drill, a Makita. Oh, electric, battery operated, a
Yeah,
Makita
you're not
drill.
using a drill press for this.
That's correct, yeah. You can.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, sure you can.
yeah, and they have
I've done this 100 times where you sit there and figure out, okay, what's my depth of my drill bit? I don't
right.
want it to go any farther than this. And I'll take a bunch of electrical tape and wrap it around.
Yep,
The only thing that I've found is that if you're doing that multiple times, especially if your drill bit is spinning very fast, is the tape will eventually start to slide up,
yep.
and then you lose your depth. So
That's a very good
you
point.
yeah, so I have to remind myself, do, 2 or 3, stop, recheck the depth on that tape,
Mhm,
another 2 or 3, because
right,
I've made that mistake where I'm like, "How did I drill through this? I swear, I taped it off. I had the depth. What's going on? I don't
right,
know."
right. Well, you
You know?
also also, the what I do is I drill down a little bit, then I pull the bit out, and then I clean the bit because the wood goes up the
Especially with the smaller drill bits.
right. So what happens is that wood that goes up starts going up because the wood has to go somewhere. It starts to push that tape up too. So you have to be careful of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you're
that,
you're right. Check 3 times or check 4 times, drill once.
yeah, well, that's the goal.
Yes,
It never works out that way.
that is true.
This is so another one. And again, there are more pictures that you gave me. I took a
Yes.
couple of these out, a couple of the pictures out. Going through them, I just was like, oh, these are look good to me. Like I know what's going on here. So
Right. Now, as you can see here, the screw that you put the tuner in is right sitting on top of that white thing there. And you want to guess what that white thing is?
I believe it or not, I had to sit there and think about what this is because it looked like a rock, and
Right.
I'm like,
No, it's not.
okay, now," and then I'm like, okay, chalk, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense either. So my final guess is that this is some kind of like a wax or something to lubricate the screw.
That is correct, yes, because what
And that
happens
is
is
an ugly ball of wax.
well, it's not a it's I made it up, I've used it for anything and anytime I'm doing any, luthier type stuff, with screws and stuff, what I do is I just take the threads and I run it on there, and then I put the screw in, and it actually adds lubrication so that the screw comes out easy and it goes in easy. So it's a good thing to have. Not only that, it seals the wood too. So
Oh,
not
that's a
that
good point. I
not
didn't
that it
even think
matters.
of it. Yeah, I didn't think of it like being a sealant to the wood, but excuse me, you drill that small hole just a little bit smaller than the screw,
Hmm.
and the threads on those screws, they're so small.
Yeah.
So I always am concerned whenever I'm going to put a very small screw into wood that it's going to strip out really easily. And I would think that that wax would kind of help build up that, almost kind of like, those plastic pieces that you put into the drywall and then you screw the screw into the plastic piece and the plastic expands.
Expands. Yeah.
I would imagine it would kind of work like that a little bit.
It's more of a lubricant, but yeah, I mean, and it by the way, that's 50% paraffin and 50% beeswax is what I use.
And it's probably completely illegal in California.
Everything is
Right.
everything is illegal, but they probably have
Uh,
some sort of warning about it.
there's gotta be.
Yeah.
Now this one was a really this,
Yeah. Oh, there's a
you know
story about this, and
uh,
one day I walked into Guitar Box, and not here in the Des Moines area. It was in I believe it was I want to say somewhere in Arizona. Who and There's a guitar tech working there, and he let me put it to you this way: the right tool for the right job.
right.
Okay, and I seen this guy, and somebody, and I said, I was sitting there and he's working on this guitar, and I said, "What's the complaint?" He says, "Oh," he says, "it's easy." He says, "It's there's a rattle coming from the headstock." So I said, "It's probably the washer. It, just tighten down the thing." So what does he do? He grabs a pair of pliers, and I said, "Are you being paid for this?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, why don't you do it right and use the right tool?" I said, "I don't care if it's an open-ended wrench. I don't care if it's a socket, but use the right tool. Don't use a pair of pliers." 'Cause
Oh, no.
yeah, I mean, that you're being paid for this, do it right, you know?
Yeah. Well, and
So
that's what when I saw this, I'm like, it's a cute little wrench, like,
I
it
know,
was built specifically for that because, yeah, you're right, every time that I've had to tighten those nuts up,
right,
I can never find the right socket or the right wrench,
right.
and my wrenches are a little bulkier for whatever reason, probably because 'cause they're Fisher Price, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah,
I need one. The only thing that would make this wrench better is if it had a little hole drilled at the other end, the handle, so that
right.
you could put it like on a keychain.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was also thinking about taking black electrical tape and putting it on the handle.
Oh yeah, that would. Well, I'm
Because here,
maybe. Yeah,
when I'm working with it around the finish, I have to be very careful I don't drop it.
yeah, that makes sense. I can
So,
see how that would. You know, I mean, so small, and you're working in a small space when you're talking about the distance between the nuts.
right.
A super small space. So yeah, I get that
Yep.
for
So
sure.
that's the reason why I showed that picture.
Yeah, I
'Cause
loved that one. That is
it it
that
brought
is
back memories.
let's see, what do we got here? I think this looks like a nice wrench or something. No, that's just the tuner head.
Yeah, it's just a tuna head, and it's the last one that has to go in there. Actually, you got the slides out of position because that would have been one of the first slides because of if you look at high E string, look at the tuner there. It's like
Oh, yeah, it's kinda kiltered a little
yeah,
bit. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So, but it's okay. It's all right.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but this gives you a representation, and you can see that I don't even have I got the nut basically sitting there, but I use painter's tape because it's easier on the finish. Doesn't rip the finish. It doesn't mar the finish or give it as any sort of leaves any residue. So that's what I use, and it works really
Yeah.
great. So I have the nut just taped in there, and for now, and as time goes along, I'll get it all set up.
Yeah, I've seen, I didn't even think about the painter's tape, thing, but you're
Right.
right. Anytime that I've seen a video where even if they're doing, cleaning, frets,
Yep.
they're using painter's tape to tape off the fretboard to protect that.
Yes. Anytime you're working with tools on the fretboard, the headstock, or anywhere on the body where there's paint, where it's finished, I would
Mhm.
always recommend either putting some sort of um, rubber mat, small, thin rubber mat, or something that, and you got to make sure that the rubber mat doesn't leave marks or anything, and then just tape or paper or a cloth or something like that just to protect the finish because it's one thing if you do it to your if you scratch your stuff, but it's another thing if you scratch a customer's. And
Well,
I've seen some really shoddy work.
yeah, I remember somebody was, I don't remember what they were doing. I think they were just setting up my very first guitar, and I got a phone call, and it was, um, uh, my screwdriver slipped, and now I've got a big scratch in your, pickup guard.
Oh, I remember that. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
and I
That
was like, I didn't
wow.
really like that anyway, so let's get another one.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that it slipped and there it went. And I'm
Yeah,
like, "Uh-oh." So,
nah,
it
it's all right.
yeah,
I
it
like
happens.
the pickup guard. I ended up buying 2 of them.
Right.
One of them we did use. The other one, I still have. It's around here somewhere, and I'm actually, trying to work on a project guitar myself.
Okay.
Um, because normally I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, help me out," but you're busy doing your own.
Yep.
But no, I bought a body from a website, that you told me about. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, and this is,
Right.
I don't it probably about 2 years ago now.
Mhm.
And it's just a Strat style body. It's rough cut, so it still needs to be shaped a little bit.
Right.
And I just happened to have a buddy, and I was showing him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I can cut out the pickups because it's got the, 3 areas, the 3 separate cutouts for the pickups, and I want a swimming pool where it's just one big open, area,
Right.
one big
Mhm.
cutout." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I can do that. I've got all the tools," and he builds guitars for himself, and I was like, okay, why not? So I gave that to him, and he's going to cut that out. And I don't know if he's going to finish shaping the body for me or not. But he also, I was talking to him, and he said that he would build me a neck from scratch.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's give it. So I gave him my Samick guitar. I said, because I want the neck modeled after my Samick.
Okay.
That, as you know, it's a C-shaped neck, but it's like a shallow C. It's a little thinner than a normal like Fender.
Okay. Might be a D, but that's okay.
Might be a D. Anyway, it's just a little thinner, and I really like the feel of that. So I'm like, okay, here, take this, and get all the measurements and everything you can, and see what we can do. So he calls me up the other day, and he's like, "Oh, okay, hey man, we want to do you. If I remember right, you want to do this, you want to do that, da 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 da." And we're just kind of bouncing it back and forth. And I'm like, "Okay, let's do a maple neck." He's like, "Okay." I said, "Can we do a toasted maple neck?" He's like,
Mm.
"Well, I
Nice.
think so. I've
Mhm.
never done it before."
Right.
Uh, Well, here's a great opportunity to find out if you can do it. So we're going to try for
Okay.
a toasted maple neck. We're gonna do, a zebra wood fretboard,
Right.
because I don't know why, I just really like zebra wood, and I don't have anything that's using zebra wood, so I'm like, "Okay." He said he can get it from one of the local, wood stores or something down the road from where he lives.
Right.
And then we're
I
going to do gold frets.
Mhm. Okay.
And guess I can't believe I'm even going to do this.
What's that?
Zero, zero fret markers.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Oh, they're no, they're there. People use it all the time.
Yeah. Well, because he's like, what kind of material do you want for your inlay or your fret markers? And I'm like, meh, nothing. you know, I might end up doing a little something on the 12th fret, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's been building guitars for a while, and he decided he was going to help me out. I told him, hey, take pictures when you start, and of the process, and I'll put them here on the podcast so that people can check it out until it
Yeah.
gets done. I don't know if he's started yet. He's probably ordered some parts, but I imagine that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, necks are I mean, you can do a lot with them. Make them really fancy, or you can just make them plain.
I almost for a hot second there, I was like, hey man, you want to scallop that fretboard too? And then I'm like, no, let's not do that because I've never played a scalloped fretboard, so I don't even know um, how that would play. I have no idea. What are you
Yeah.
digging for?
There's another neck I've made.
Oh, just got a bunch of necks laying around.
Yeah. See, no skunk stripe in here. Yep. But this is
Oh
one.
yeah, I don't even know if we didn't even talk about like doing a skunk stripe or anything like that.
Yeah. See, you can. This is Oh, I even got the date. I made the neck. If you want to, you can see it there.
Well, what is the date? I can't see it. Nobody can see it.
It's 05 of 2001.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, that's rock maple.
You
Nice
you
cortisone.
you built it and haven't even played it yet.
No, and
So
I got this one here. Um, Let me get it out here. I keep them in plastic bags because of they get all messed up. That one
right,
that and what I that way they don't get too if they get dropped or something like that it doesn't break them. But this is another neck I made here. This is my first one. Not my first one, but my
oh, there you go. See that one's scalloped. That looks really nice and it's shiny, the whole 9 yards.
yep. You can see it.
There you go.
That was sprayed with amber, the color.
Yeah,
There is I will say this, I got a run right here that I noticed, but
that's okay.
I
That's
can get that
character,
out. Yeah, but I can get that out. But if you notice, look at the nut I got.
huh? Is that like locking or something? I
It's a brass nut. It's adjustable. It's a high performance
oh,
nut.
there you go.
So
A Brad
yeah,
high performance nut.
yeah. So
oh wow.
and this here is
Yeah. So
I decided to
oh,
put the truss rod on the top of it
there you go.
instead
Instead
of
of on the in the at the
yeah
bottom.
yeah.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
there's
So
a few of my necks.
there's just a few of my next. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of projects going on, so that'll be fun.
This is the inspiration I got for the thin line. You remember this because I got it the same place you got the other one. This is the guy I told you about. See,
Yeah.
my brother watched the podcast and accused me of using this body. There it is. It's a thin line. Now the difference here in this here body is this is store bought and this is completely hollow. Everything is hollow here. Only this area here where the pickups are and the nut
right.
and where the neck goes is solid. Everything else is hollow. So this is so what I did is I didn't like how thick it is right here.
Right.
So I don't know if you can see that. Oh, here it's better
But
like this.
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it's
No,
hard to move around and not bump the microphone. I get it.
yeah, here it is. So on the top of the guitar, you got your F hole here, and this is not, it's thick, and I wanted it
Mhm.
thinner. So that's how I got the inspiration for doing the other thing.
Ah, gotcha. There you
So
go.
one day it'll go to the painters.
One day,
Yeah.
land far, far away. Yeah,
Actually,
no, that's cool.
actually, what I'm thinking about doing is I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use True Oil on it.
Just keep it natural.
I think I'm going to stain it a little bit, darken it up a little, and I'm going to use True Oil to for the finish because that's what
Oh, okay.
they use it on furniture and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it is a an excellent finish for guitars. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I gotta, you know, just one of those things. See,
Just
yeah,
yeah. I,
as
I
it
mean, I
goes.
guess yeah. You got a couple projects. Okay, you've
I got a
got a
lot of
couple of yeah.
yeah, and plus there's, I got another two bodies sitting over in the back over there. So
Yeah, I just have one. I just have the one body. My buddy's got that. He's working on that. But it's funny because I surf the YouTubes and I always like looking at the videos about like the cheapest. There, it's like a review, cheapest guitar on Amazon
right,
or whatever site. And I'm like, this one guitar people are saying some good stuff about it and it's sub $200. So I was like looking and of course the price is going up and they're getting harder to find. Remember what was it? Firefly I think was the
yeah, mhm,
yeah, people were ranting and raving about that. Now you can't find them.
right.
I think Xavier was one. You can still get those though.
Yes, you can. Guitarfetish.com.
Yeah, yeah. But they I think the price has gone up a little bit.
They have. They make a decent product.
That's what
So,
everybody is saying. And then
yeah.
there was another one like Felly or something like that
Never heard
that
of
I
that.
saw today. They have a really slick looking Les Paul style, uh, just under $200 that
Wow.
some of the guys were ranting and raving about. And I was like, I'm going to get one. Screw it. And then, of course, yeah, they're sold out everywhere. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of I mean, for anybody watching this here, there's plenty of
yeah,
guitar kits out there. You can get them for reasonable prices, but understand that some of them you're gonna have to do a lot of work on, and others I mean, I've seen kits with, painted, actual painted bodies and a painted, well, not a painted, but a lacquer finish neck or a poly neck on it. So, I mean, they're out there. It just
right.
depends on what you wanna do and how long you wanna take to set it up, you know? So, I mean, if you start out with a body that's unfinished, you got a lot of work to do. So
Yeah, I would say if you're going to build one for the first time, find a kit that is already shaped, ready to go. Maybe a light sanding, and then paint it,
right,
put it together. And then build up from there. So,
yeah. But you
but
gotta
don't take my word for it because I haven't even done that yet.
yeah, but you gotta put a finish on it. You gotta do something because you got a sealer or something because the wood, if, moisture, causes problems. If it, I mean, if it's unfinished and you're playing out in the rain for some reason, you're in big trouble, you know?
Yeah, don't take your unfinished guitar out in the rain.
Yeah, I've seen it. Well, not out in the
I
rain.
bet.
I've seen people put it just throw it together and they're like, "Look at this," and they never put a finish on it, and it's like, "Okay, whatever." At least clear coat it, you know?
Right. Yeah, you got to put something on
S
it, some sort of protection for sure.
Yes, some sort of sealer 'cause I mean, the moisture in the room, sometimes you got a lot of moisture, in the winter times you got, no moisture, So
Right. Well, I actually had another little topic that I wanted to talk about.
okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So obviously, we've talked a little bit about the woes of creating a podcast, and this is our 52nd episode, by the way, for any of us that can't count. It
Okay.
takes a lot of work
Does.
and effort to do these shows.
Yep.
Well, one step farther that we go, because people ask me, Well, I want to do a podcast. Okay, cool. But do you really know how much goes into it? And then last week, something happened to me that realized, and I didn't mention this to anybody, but made me realize that we're deeper into podcasting than most people are. So,
Okay, explain that.
all right. So, when you create a podcast and you basically, in the end, you're creating an MP3 file for those old enough to remember what an MP3 is,
Mhm.
and you upload that to a, we'll call them a publishing company, even though they're not. But this is like Podbean, and there's a million else others out there that charge a monthly fee. And you upload your file, and they create an RSS feed. And I don't remember what RSS stands for. It's not important enough to remember. But basically, that is the feed that goes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and whatever other podcast catcher there is.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's how Spotify knows, oh, hey, you have a new episode. Here's where it's at. So you need that RSS feed. Well, I don't like paying $15+ a month for to another company to create that RSS feed. And then
Okay.
you want to have two podcasts or three podcasts or four podcasts. Now you're doubling, tripling, quadrupling the money that you're paying somebody else to create an RSS feed. So, being a tech guy, I self host. I spun up a server and I threw on some software, and I host and I send the RSS feed to the different platforms. And I ran some updates to the software, and apparently, one of the items that got updated broke the RSS feed.
Ah,
So we went like a day and a half where nobody could listen. Like we looked like we didn't even exist, because when somebody looked for us, they're like, "Oh, I don't see an RSS feed out there. They must not exist."
mm,
So
wow.
yeah. So of course, obviously, I found this out in the morning, and I had work, and I already had other appointments that I had to go to. So it took me a little bit to actually get in there and figure out what broke and how to fix it. But yeah, that stuff hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, just another thing that is out there is the hosting portion of getting your podcast out there. That's a whole nother aspect. You can either pay somebody to do it. What is $15 a month at 12 months?
Well, you're talking, it's 100 and,
$180. So at bare minimum, if you just want to create a podcast and don't have a whole lot of know-how, it's going to cost you $180
yeah,
a year.
yeah. And plus you have to come up with the content and everything else with it, so
Well, yeah, you have to come
edit.
up with the content. This episode was hard because Amanda wasn't here to carry all the weight.
That's right.
Uh,
Sh
they're always better when she's here.
Yep.
But
More
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, absolutely, for sure, right? But yeah, I mean, you got the equipment, and you can go cheap on the equipment if you want. Yep, that's fine. You got to have a topic. You got to be consistent. You got to do all these things. But at bare minimum, it's $180 a year unless you can figure out how to do it yourself. And then when something breaks, you have to be able to fix it. So,
That's yeah. That's the hard part.
yeah.
Mhm.
So have fun.
Yeah, I noticed I noticed something. You got looks like a coffee mug there. What is that?
Oh, this guy right here.
Yeah,
This
'cause,
is, you know what? You know how much I love coffee,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I love good coffee, but it doesn't matter what kind of coffee you put in this mug, it's better coffee. Yeah.
I just seen it
Yeah.
on the side there.
Yeah, I just set it over here. It was on the last episode too, but you didn't
Oh,
see that.
I
Yeah.
didn't notice it, yeah. And
Yeah, we had
I was also gonna ask you about the Martin up there too, if you've played it a lot.
hey, hey, no, don't
Okay,
that's no, don't even worry about that.
okay, alright.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've got actually one of my guitars over here is downstairs. The other one's right behind me. So yeah, and then, but no, the coffee mugs, that was a limited, super limited production run. and those are all gone. So if you have one, great. If not, maybe there'll be more in the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're actually okay. So, spoiler alert for those that really love swag. We're kind of brainstorming around with some ideas. We might have some swag here in the near future.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
So, yeah, that's I just got to kind of tweak some artwork, and I've got to set up, really what I've got to do is set up a store, like a storefront. I got to be careful because some storefronts want to charge you part of proceeds, profit, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So anyway, enough of that. How about we do a, I'm just going to stick to this. We were going to do a wheel pick this episode.
Yep.
And if you know, you know, but we like to do a little thing around here called the Wheel of Musicians, where myself, Rick, and Amanda, we all have some musicians that we put on the wheel. We do a random wheel spin, and whoever's musician gets picked, well, they have to do a little bit of research and come back in a future episode and inform us all about their favorite artists.
Yep.
But I was thinking about the next couple of episodes of our podcast, and I'm thinking in August, I am going to see one of my favorite bands right now, Greta Van Fleet.
Yep.
And so, wouldn't it just be super coincidental if I came back, if Josh Kinska of Greta Van Fleet got selected, and that's who's going to be next? So I'm going to spare you. We're not going to really spin this wheel. I'm just going to go ahead and pick the wheel pick, and that's going to be Josh Kinska, Greta Van Fleet. So I can come back after that concert, give you a little bit of history about the band, the members of the band, my concert experience, and maybe a little review on some new hearing protection that I've recently acquired.
Nice. Looking forward to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. It'll be a real, it better be so much fun. I'm excited.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. So really, to be honest with you, that's what's next. I think episode number 53, Amanda will be back.
Right.
She will bring her smile and humor to the team. And I think we are going to do an anniversary episode because it is our anniversary, or pretty darn close to it anyway, for Pandemic Guitar Podcast.
Yeah. So what is it? 2 months?
No, August 11th, I think.
No, no. I'm saying our anniversary, 2 month anniversary.
No, it wouldn't be 2 year.
Yeah, it's 2 years.
Okay. I was like,
I'm just
I
giving you
know
crap.
time flies, but
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. 2 years.
So yeah, so next episode, being an anniversary episode, we're gonna bring one of our favorite listeners and the only guest that has ever been on this show, John, back. And he's going to walk us through a little bit of memory lane and maybe roast us a little bit. I have no idea what he's going to do. I'll try to find out before we get into it, but I can't promise anything.
Uh,
So that should be fun. And I think we're going to spin off of Amanda's idea because she wanted to do this a couple of episodes ago, but
yeah.
apparently I don't listen well.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's just to go through old episodes and come up with some things and just reminisce about them and stuff like that. So it'll work. We'll get
Yeah,
it.
it will. And then the episode after that, 54, will be the Wheel of Musicians, the rigged pick, I might call it, where I'll tell you about Greta Van Fleet, my experience at their concert locally here in my town, and maybe whether a certain hearing protection is good enough or not
Right. I think
to
the real
invest in.
test. I think the real test is going to be Bonamassa.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For 100, yes. Okay. I I don't know if anybody has listened to the Joe Bonamassa episode. Uh, I think I'm pretty sure we talked about how loud that was. That went from 1 to 12 quick.
Right. Well,
Uh,
funny story about that is, if I can tell it, I don't know.
yeah, go for it.
Um, uh, the wife and I and Amanda and her husband went to, Beetlejuice. Went to see in the same spot that, the Civic Center where, Bonamassa played, and this was after Joe Bonamassa, and I happened to be talking to one of the security people there. You know, they're not really security, they're more usher type people, you know?
Right, yeah.
They just maintain the line and, make sure everybody is, not, causing trouble and everything. And I had mentioned to her, we were talking, and I said to her, "Will I need ear protection for this thing?" And she says, "Hell no." And then yeah, and then I said, "Well," I said, "when I was here on the Joe Bonamassa, I needed ear protection." And she said, "Oh my," she says, "we could hear it when I was going home that night, 3 blocks away, we could hear the music." That's how loud it was.
I don't know how anybody who was in that audience that was not wearing
Oh,
some form of hearing protection,
oh,
I
painful.
don't know how you're not deaf.
Yeah, painful. It's gotta
I mean,
be.
don't get me wrong, great music to listen to, but, like, if you take your earplug out, it's just like, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, man. So, yes, the Greta Van Fleet concert will be test number 1. You're right. Joe Bonamassa will be the ultimate test. I can't wait for
yes.
that one.
Yeah, I
That
can't
one's
either.
that's at
November.
the end. Yeah, November, end of November.
Yeah.
It's almost Christmas.
Yep. Yeah, but it'll
Hmm.
be nice. Be nice.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll do Christmas special again,
Ooh, that would be neat.
I know last year he didn't he? Did he
He
did he come out with a
he
Christmas song?
he did. Yeah, he came out this last Christmas with he did a Christmas album, which is actually a good Christmas album.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
I
So,
really liked that.
yep, I do too.
Well, anyway, let's get out of here. Let's wrap up this episode. What do you
Okay.
say?
Sounds good to me.
All right. I don't have a catchy tagline or anything like that, like Amanda does. That's her thunder, and I don't want to steal it because honestly, it's just not going to be as good no matter how you cut the bread. So, yeah, like us and listen to us. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just go out there, search for Pandemic Guitar Podcast. You'll be able to follow us. Do the like, do the subscribe, click the heart, give the thumbs up, whatever the button is. Help us out, do us a favor, and then of course, if you just want to go old school, you can email us at pandemicguitar@icloud.com, and that's it. So for this episode, I'm Tim, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
Yep. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.